You're being recorded, Dominic. Namaste.
This is our fourth for this
Only
morning.
soul recognizes your soul. I honor love, light, beauty, truth, and kindness within you because it's also within me. During these things, there is no distance and no difference between us. We are the same. We are one.
Can I share something, guys? I just had a pure, because I know we were talking earlier about, I heard you guys talking about Jesus or Buddha. How many, not just us, how many humans would actually be at the foot of a guy like Buddha or Jesus and want to learn his teachings out? It took 3, 4, 10, 15 years. Or would we be saying, I got to go to work, or I got to go get my breakfast? A lot of us wouldn't really commit to that kind of teaching. It sounds really nice, idealistic, and the principles even sound nice, but how many of us would actually give up our loved ones, our family members, and pursue something?
Our work, right?
I would say with all sincerity, I've taken a lot of information in the last 20 years and I've made a lot of economic sacrifices for this. And that's my ego talking right now. But I realize no matter what, most people, there was only a handful of people that truly followed Buddha. There was only a handful of people that followed Jesus, but a lot of people financially gained or fame gained from these guys. It's like a painter. He never becomes known for or recognized for what he was actually trying to, or she was trying to share. What people always get up in the end is the literatures that they write, the paintings they write. Most of us, and I say with all this out of sincerity, most of us are just full of something. Because if we truly would follow it, we wouldn't be concerned about, Zoom, books. We have so many books written, but yet it's kind of like doctors. We have so many doctors in the world and police officers. Has that actually put a dent in people staying healthy or lack of crimes, or lawyers? No, it usually shows the opposite. For all, like I said, but for all the information we have, we really as a collective have showed a disparity among ourselves. So when we throw names like Jesus, Buddha, Socrates, even Hitler, he never killed anybody. He ordered people, so I'm only saying this, guys, because I've been seeking and searching numerous of time, and along the way, I've gathered all kinds of information. I'm like, okay, so I'm playing this paradigm. So who is really Jesus? I'll rip it apart to no end. Same with Buddha. I'll rip it to no end. Everything's an inner guidance. You kind of know that, Rami, and even you, Jay. You kind of know that too. But unfortunately, go ahead.
So language shapes concept. And choice of words is very important. I'm probably a little bit more British in this regard. Let me suggest disassemble. It's also why I say HTTP stroke instead of HTTP//. It's less violent to stroke the cat than to slash it.
Sorry, Rami, what are you trying to imply by that?
I wasn't trying to imply anything. I was suggesting that it's like when Lewis was saying Jesus came to bring war. That's not in the Gospels. He said that that there would be strife and conflict, and that there would be division, because in answer to your initial question, that's actually in the Jesus story, as found in the canonical Gospels. There is a story of Martha and Mary, and Martha was getting upset at Mary because Martha was up and doing all this work and having to be a host, and Martha asked Jesus to please, ask her sister to come help with all the chores, all the work that has to be done, all the busy work. And Jesus' reply was, Mary has chosen the better thing. Mary was resting at Jesus' feet, by the way. And she shall not be moved.
There's physical work, and then there's other kinds of works, and most people get caught up in the physical work. Even when Jesus was told by even we'll call him another being, just give me a knee. Why? Because this is my kingdom. I rule this kingdom. I'm not the owner of this kingdom, but I'm damn sure well the ruler of this kingdom.
Okay, all right,
so
hold on.
Hence the new earth. Go ahead.
What are you quoting? Because that's extra canonical right there.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're talking about teachings. We weren't there,
Yes, but
Rami.
which teaching? Which specific teaching?
The teachings I just shared with you, does it matter where it came from?
Yes, it does.
Okay, it matters to you. So if you feel as though I've misquoted it or something, it's
Well,
still
if you're
teachings I
saying
put out.
Jesus said, I want to know
No,
what
first of all, Jesus.
because I want to know if that's if that is an accurate and trustworthy source. In other words,
Well,
there was a process to come to the biblical canon, and it was really worked out over a series of sessions.
yes, but
Even though
most
you had the
wise
writings
people.
by 400, you didn't have, or by even 300 even. Actually, most of the writings were composed during the first century,
Yes,
and maybe
written.
into the second. But it wasn't until the Diet of Worms in the 1500s that you get this canonical final output.
Rami, you're talking about written work opposed to oral teachings. Jesus, Muhammad, Socrates, they never actually
Yes,
wrote
but
anything.
you see, it's like Tony Heller. You see,
No, I'm not Tony Heller. I'm not Tony Heller, Rami.
I
I'm
understand you're not.
I'm
You're
Dominic,
Domenic
and
of
I'm talking
your
from
CD.
the point of view of oral teaching, because the receivers actually take more information from oral than the written works. The written work actually teaches
Agreed.
the brain to be very linear,
Yes.
left to right. We're using an
Or
English
right to
language.
left if you're a native
Depending on the
Hebrew
hemisphere.
and Arabic.
Depends the hemispheres we live in. We live in two hemispheres in this world, and we have two hemispheres within ourselves. I'm also using an English language, which is a meaningful language. It's not a comprehension language, let alone is it actually a healing language, let alone a creation, let alone a formation language. There's many languages out there. So now
it's a pretty good dissecting language.
It's meaningful language, is a combination of four other languages. So when I'm sharing something, it's already going to be downplayed, unfortunately, Rami, because of the language I'm using, the tonality, the sound that's in it. So when we're talking about written work, it'll teach the mind to be very linear. This is where the logic from one hemisphere to the other. There's intuitive, where you have to learn that from oral teachings. Insights, again, that's oral teachings. This is why when you sit at the footstool of somebody, you're teaching orally. The written work actually is a dumbed down process.
Well, but it's a necessary. It's a necessary artifact.
Because you put value to it, and that's great.
Well,
but I'm not going.
There's a very specific cost for putting value to it, because if the oral teacher passes away, you got to have a reference.
If you
otherwise,
value
that
yes.
wisdom is lost.
Well, I value the concept. Anything that's been inspired to be written can also be interpreted and only comprehended through inspiration, not on some paperwork.
Well,
but
you said only,
which
means that you've already departed from the truth, because when you say only, always, never, these are absolutist terms, and most things in the world are not absolute. So you've already departed from the truth.
Well, at that point, Rami, I never used the word what you just said.
I thought I heard you say only, but I could have misheard.
No, I never said the word truth.
Well, that's my point. I am focused and interested in the truth, and the rest of it can go on the trash heap of history.
Yes, and
it can be burned up in an incinerator. It doesn't.
What I'm going to share with you, Rami, what I'm going to share with you, truth, like love, is an energy form. So whatever's being inspired is being inspired by the truth. Where there's two, you'll find me. That's an energy form. You're looking through truth. I don't like the
feeling of your energy, Dominic.
That's fine. That's fine.
I'm
an agitator.
But okay, but
it's not about liking or disliking it. It's just energy. I don't play the likes and dislikes.
Listening to your voice is like eating caffeine pills.
Okay.
Is this who you like to be?
I'm not caught up in likes and dislikes, Rami, but obviously I heard you say something you don't like. You're always carrying a mirror with yourself, Rami. I'm just talking out loud. I could care less whether you agree or disagree with me. Yeah. I'm sharing. So now if you put value, because I've heard you say argument, you like to argue positions. Now, if you're making it personal with me, who am I? I'm just an energy being sharing with other people. I don't take this personal. Thoughts aren't mine. I get to share them. What's that?
Is that your extent?
Of what?
You said I'm a personal quote.
I'm an energy being.
I am a personal. Yeah, I am just. Well, I think you said I am just an energy being, or something along those lines.
So yeah, if you're willing to break down my words, I'm okay with. But are you willing to break down your own words before you even talk about them in your own thoughts?
I cannot do this without incurring equal judgment.
Well, whatever judgment is, if you find that there's whatever it is, because there is discernment. then there's judgment. To me,
Thank
when
you.
somebody says to me, I don't judge, I'm like, okay, but if I say you have a nice pair of shoes and you accept it, that is a judgment. It's our likes and dislikes get skewed. That's where we become biased. I'm trying to be the observer witness where I realize I've already accumulated a whole bunch of bias. So how do I actually do it unconditionally? I observe it and I become a channel for that information.
Well, okay,
Whether or not
okay,
you
let me stop
value
you
it,
right there, because you said you absorb it and then I become a channel of that
I
information.
observe it, yes.
So
I
this goes
observe it.
back to like the Charles Sanders Peirce statement that about ideas, that that people do not hold ideas, ideas hold people, in essence. So, and then you also said you have your own biases. So my response to, because I know I have my own biases too, and not all of them are going to be serving me or others very well. So it's important to delve in and then to explore each one of them, pick it up. Is this good? Is it partially good? Can I take the good and leave the rest behind?
Isn't that a bias? By saying good?
Well, you're right. And what flavors, what determines the good is an excellent question too, in and of itself.
I don't value agreeing.
My statement is it compliant with truth?
That's your view. And you might even convince a bunch of other people what they perceive as truth. I don't put value to that stuff. I'm not saying I don't acknowledge it, but I don't value. It's like I don't value agreements and disagreements.
What do you value?
I value sharing.
Okay, sharing.
And when I share, I'm always the student hearing myself, whether in thoughts or outside, because I'm always the student.
All right. So sharing what?
Information. I'm only sharing a fraction of what actually goes through me.
Okay.
So I share out loud, and I realize there's going to be a resistance both to myself, and I might even perceive other people are resisting it. So when you say things like, well, Dominic, I don't like your tone, what I go through on my own, Rami, is nothing compared to what you think you can do to me, Rami, sorry, to whatever I can do to myself. I throw myself under the bus. I don't need anybody else to throw me under the bus, but I am sharing.
I don't want anyone thrown under the bus.
Well, but I'm okay. But I'm okay with it, Rami. The only difference is
I'm not.
But that's the thing. You're not okay with it. But the thing is, if you did, it would be nothing compared to what I do to myself.
Well, that's
again, my challenge.
That gets back to my question. Do you like yourself? Why do you feel compelled?
Rami, you keep saying the word. I don't use the word likes and dislikes. You do. You put the value likes and you're projecting on me. Do you value things through likes and dislikes? Like you can eat your food and you can have likes and dislikes. It doesn't mean it's healthy for you. You can like coffee, but it doesn't mean it's healthy for you.
Let me ask an open-ended question spoken from a third-person perspective, or let's say observer perspective then. Why would one use violent language with regard to themselves or in relation with others?
Because the wonderful world of suffering is more about attachments than it actually about resistance.
Okay.
So, for example,
wait,
for me,
you said a lot.
Open-end question. Open-end question. It's not a closed-end question. Open-end question. So I'm going to put it on where it is. So most people are caught up in pleasantries. That's just only one aspect. I choose to go the other end because it's better to go from one end to the other. It all depends. Most people never go to the other